Hello, I'm Yaron from Studio Y.
And I'm Chris from Naught Gin. We're here at our cocktail bar in Eltham. I guess I first heard of Studio Y when I went to Stomping Ground. So I went there as a patron, had some beers, and saw the design, loved it, and Googled, who designed the venue and who owns it, what they do, and then made contact with Studio Y from there. So Naught has two parts of the business. First part is we make gin, amazing gin, and what we needed was a bar that emulated the cocktails and the produce that we manufacture. So it's really built around that speakeasy 1920s vibe, but also getting lost in the spirit, getting lost in the moment with friends. And so when we went to Yaron with this vision, it was really built around lost, ruined and wicked, which is what Naught means.
And the site is actually reflecting that in some ways.
Yeah, it does. I mean, it's an industrial estate, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you walk in and you're blown away. It's an inner city venue rather than some industrial factory with steel in it. We try and bring some of that inner city opulence to the suburbs. I think when we went to Yaron, we didn't really know what the vision was. We sort of went with the name, and we're a gin distillery. And that's where I guess Yaron came with his vision and expertise about what we should kind of try and do. So we were pretty new to the design world. We didn't really know what we were doing, and I guess that's where the guidance came through. So we were pretty green. We didn't really know what we wanted. We needed some advice.
Yeah, and I remember we did have your brand of the Naught and the branding that you've done for the. So we had a bit of a story to dig out from there, and I think that's what also kind of allows us to, like, as a starting point, and that's where we start to draw inspiration, that medieval century type of direction, and like you said, lost, and something that creates more curiosity.
Yeah. I think with Naught, we knew we wanted to be premium. We knew we wanted to have a world-class gin, a world-class bar. But the rest of it we need direction on. I make good gin, but I can't design venues. So.
Yeah. Luckily, we got a lot of trust from you guys, and overall, if I look back 5 years ago when we were in the making of this, I think not much really detoured from the original concept. It was just a journey we went through together, and there's definitely some element that is all coming from that storytelling of the gin, of we see one of the main feature installation here with the dry herbs installation here. So with the wallpaper, it's all kind of melding in together. And obviously, as always, the site for us is always the key part that we have to respond to. And I think that was one of the kind of interesting, challenging things. So from outside, nobody would assume there's anything happening here. And I think we actually took that leverage off that to create this kind of hype, and as you walk in, create that wow factor.
Yeah.
But it's also about escapism. We want people, once they step into the venue, really forget what's behind and immerse to the experience.
I think that's something that we still get feedback on when people walk in the venue. Most of them who haven't been here before will say, wow, you could be anywhere in the world. And I think that the venue really nails that. And the aesthetic's perfect for our brand. It tells our story. So yeah, couldn't be more happy.
As Chris mentioned about being a premium brand and experience, the approach here was quite minimalist, but everything is quite tactile. And whether it's the bar front with the slated bricks, drawing inspiration from the copper steel, therefore the copper hammered ceiling. So not trying to bring too many new finishes to the place. Keep it very subtle, speakeasy. Mind you, it was built in COVID times,
Yep.
where nobody knew what's going to happen next. So we also try to be quite controlled in terms of budget, and just make sure everything has a reason here. And I think when you connect all the pieces together, it's also about being able to tell the story, not just for yourself, for the team, for the bartenders, people who come here. They can start connect the dots. So yeah, therefore the flower installation, which is all native plants from Australia, that was very important, and some components from your gin mix.
Yep.
And again, that's where we like to create that drama a bit. We wanted to make a bit of a drama here. That's where you can see the velvet finishes against the slated bricks, smoky mirror, just to create those kind of contrasts. And I think that creates more elevated experience and a bit of drama. Also like the tabletops, just make it feel more crafted, which it is, as we are dealing in crafting business.
Yep.
And more than anything, the still, obviously, the beautiful setup here is the hero and all the focal point directed to there. And also the proportion of the space is quite intimate, and we wanted to keep it like that. And it's also one more thing about also the layout, since we are, and that's a bit kind of a different than a typical day-to-day bar. You got also operation of the still, but it also means daytime they can come tasting events, people coming for tours. So the space needs to know to work in different scenarios. And I think that's where we try to also, from a layout perspective, keep it still flexible, but anchored at the same time.
I think one of the things too that what that design does is it reflects what we talk about with our gin. We talk about texture a lot, both in venue, the texture, the leather, the timber, the stone, the copper. We've got softening fabric, the botanical installation. We talk about a lot when we talk about our venue, but when we talk about our gin, we talk about oils, mouthfeel, texture, botanical weight, alcohol weight. And so it really ties in well with our product and our venue. So we can talk about them at the same time in the same way. That really helps our business when we're speaking to people who haven't been here before.
Couldn't say it better.
I think it's number one. If you walk into a venue and it looks well put together, tidy, it looks thought out, rather than just furniture put places just to get as many bums on seats. I think that's the most important thing, because we're visual learners. People generally see and then they want. So as someone walking into this venue, the first thing that they walk through and see this still in this archway, we call it the altar, where people can worship at the gin still. I think it's massively important for our venue, for the vibe of the venue. I know the bar layout and stuff, love working in the bar because it's really well thought out. They're the things that probably consumers don't see, but when you don't see the staff behind the bar working hectic, it adds to that ambience of it's a world-class bar. So yeah, I think it's really important.
Firstly, as Chris mentioned at the beginning, they came quite green to us, and that's where I feel another level of responsibility. I'm very cautious just telling my ideas or why operationally things should be like that. I always prefer to have a strong, experienced operator, but in some ways I've also worked behind the bar in my past experience and understand that side luckily as well, but also obviously learned from many others we worked with in the past. So I think that's where I was confident enough to put some more of a direction also on the operational side, but obviously also got some other consultants that assisted in the setup. But I think overall that was quite a weight for me, but also exciting, because I also very appreciate when people approach us like you did and put their trust, and I don't take it lightly. It's a lot of investment. There's only one chance you get, make or break, right? And so I just make sure, me and the team, that we will do whatever we can get from our abilities to ensure and minimize the risk, but optimize the operation and the people's experience. So in some ways, it also gave us a bit more, yes, freedom, but holistically, we could resolve it all at once. And I think that was quite great in that journey of experience. Place from Space helped with the base build, upgrades, and architecture, although it's majority interiors project, but they definitely been helpful and brought their own input. Tobias, the architect from Place from Space. I'll just say a little bit the thought process we had at the beginning. I remember there was questions or a dialogue, should we open the windows, make a connection. They were keen at the beginning to let's make a nice external facade. And I think that's where I very quickly said, let's not try to make something pretty
Yeah.
if it cannot be, but it's also about, okay, that's where I'd rather put the money play elsewhere. So it's always a priority, but at the same time, talking back to the escapism, I didn't want any natural light coming in, and there's nothing to see outside anyway. So, and that's where that wow factor, when you walk in, it amplifies that experience. So yes, it's a disadvantage, but we made it an advantage for the experience.
Yeah, I actually agree with that. I think the fact that you don't know what this is when you walk up the driveway is really important. And I guess a speakeasy is that. People don't know what it is. They don't know it's there unless it's word of mouth. And that was the entire purpose behind being no natural light, having no outward facing, I guess, signs of a bar in here. Since then, obviously, we've done little things. We've put up a sign out the front. We've got some music playing underneath the entrance, things like that, but they're quite subtle. So the tough part about working in an industrial estate is it's very cold. Lots of square lines, lots of concrete, lots of hard surfaces, nothing's really soft. So we did some greenery out the front, along the driveway, just to soften it and to make it a little bit more inviting. But I actually think the best thing we did was to keep it quite understated and neutral, so when people do walk in, they're transported to something different. Yeah, look, locals are really our main business here in this venue. We get a lot of people from the city, however, it is a local bar, and there's nothing like it. There's nothing like it in the northeast, let alone our suburb. So it's been received amazingly well. I haven't heard anyone say they dislike it, that's for sure. But no, we get rave reviews. I think we're a 4.9 on Google over 5 years. So not only do we do great gin and cocktails, but people love coming in here for the atmosphere and just being comfortable in a venue that's close to home for them. So yeah, we're really happy with how we are portrayed by locals and how we work for locals.
And obviously you cannot take all credit for the design for that. It takes good service, good food, everything has to be orchestrated. So you've done very well as well. There's a couple features here that I think worth mentioning that contributed quite a lot for the space. So sometimes we have great ideas, but execution is another matter, and that's where we always believe in great collaboration and putting that trust in the crafting and in the making and overall the people. The botanical installation here, I remember we had this idea. We never really done that to that scale in the past before, and I remember there was concern on how it will hold up, and that's where to create some unique things, always there's a bit of risk taking, and it takes two to tango. And luckily you were happy to take that leap of faith. We actually just did some research. We did try someone that is very famous and they were not available, and then we said let's just find someone local. Edward and I is basically the team, and we called them up, sent them some references, and straight away they said, look, we don't really do this. They do a lot of other flower installation, but they're very excited. They're local from the Yarra Valley, and very quickly they were very proactive about it, and I think gave us very comfort and belief they can execute it. And then we just entrusted them, and standing here looking at it here now 5 years later, it's like the first day. And so that's been one of the great features here, and quite important to connect all the space that leads your focal point to the distill.
Certainly creates a link between the gin and the venue. Having a botanical display when you're creating gin that uses some of those botanicals. It also, like you said, leads you to the still. It runs, it's a 6 metre long installation, runs down the centre of our arched roof towards our still. So I think it's a massive highlight, and certainly something people notice as soon as they walk in. And it creates a fantastic shadow with the uplights on it. So you sit here at night time and the lights are on and it looks amazing. So I think it's a really big focal point of our venue.
Obviously it's all real. I mean, dried,
Yeah.
but there's no,
No, they're not fake.
no
They're real
fake.
plants.
Everything is authentic. Another feature that we all love here, just looking at the precast wall of the original shell of the building, it's the back bar, so obviously it's important as a focal point, but it's also more about to highlight the product that we display, which more not gin bottles, which are very beautiful. Here are one of our favorite collaborators, Claire from Scanlan Makers. The brief here, you know, we have the copper finishes and the steel, but again, we want that to feel authentic, kind of rusty, bring a bit of grit, because it's all here is about the elegance and the grit coming together. And they managed to pull out a beautiful piece of art, basically. It's not a paint finish or a render, it's a piece of art that just bringing that layering, and which just look very authentic, but really complements, I think, that whole side of the bar.
Yeah, I think what it does too is it creates a focal point. Most back bars are just bottles. We do feel like we have a piece of art behind the bar. It also ties in, like you said, the copper ceiling. The back bar bottles glow, you know, warmly against those copper tones that are in that. So I think it makes a massive difference. And it's also you know, an easier way to spruce up a tilt panel or a cast concrete wall that isn't that interesting when you look at it in its entirety. So again, creates a really lovely backdrop for our venue.
I think that's one of the things we try to achieve here, is make it feel more like a curated and kind of art pieces, furniture pieces, rather than everything is built-in joinery. I think that's even the bar top with the steel frame, how it's held up, it's not the usual way. Usually just an overhang, and adding that extra detail of the mirror, it's just trying to create this more of a crafty, considered look.
Upon completion of this, I called Yaron and was like, all right, we're going to do another venue at some stage. And I think we've been talking about it for 4 years now, and we still will. So I don't know when. There's a lot on our plate with the gin distillery, and we are now not just a local gin, we're available in 4 international markets and growing. So there will come a time where we will be doing another venue. It will 100% be with Studio Y, and it'll be no one else. It might not even be in this country. I think I messaged you a couple of years ago when I was in England at a venue that Yaron had designed over there. So yeah, for us working with Yaron Studio Y, it's been easy. I think the best part about working with anyone in any industry is ease of use, ease of communication, and then the ability to bring something to life. So for us, yeah, we're very lucky. I'm lucky I went to Stomping Ground that day and called you on, and yeah, we couldn't be happier. So for us, we will do another project. It's just a matter of when.
Well, I can't wait for another one, and now we have a bunch of other stories to tell in the next venue, hopefully.
Yeah.
It's been a great experience for us and the team as well. You know, you all came very humble, and as we are. And you know, we just wanted to make the same achievements as you, and just sitting here 5 years later and seeing how you grew and evolved, win awards, exporting the gin. So hopefully it will continue growth and more, and just enjoying seeing your success.
Yeah, no, we'll get there, and look forward to the next one.